And we're going to have a great show this evening. It is 8 p.m. here in Southern California, 8 p.m. in the evening, Thursday evening. I'm going to be having these broadcasts, excuse me, I'm going to be having these broadcasts every week on Thursday evening at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're in the Midwest, it could be 11 o'clock. If you're in New York, it could be 12 o'clock. But if you'd like, right now, just log on in onto this site if you have any questions, so we can also see who's logging in around the world. You know, my goal is educating, enlightening people about the science of hypnosis. And we like to make sure that we have people logged in case you have any questions or that you'd like to ask me, because this is an opportunity for every one of you, and that is to communicate with me right here live on Tom Silver TV, TomSilverTV.com. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Tom Silver, and I am a clinical scientific hypnotherapist. And we've got David. David has logged in. Hey David, how you doing? I'm a scientific clinical hypnotherapist. I kind of consider myself a neurological hypnotherapist because I use science along with hypnosis. And I've been exploring the frontiers of our mind and how the mind operates scientifically, neurologically, physiological, biologically, psychosomatically for over 25 years. I write books, I teach courses all around the world in scientific neurological hypnotherapy. Some of you have trained with me, actually. I have some friends in Indonesia that's trained. I have people in Africa that has come over and trained privately with me. I do offer one-on-one personal training courses. And if you're interested in coming over and having hands-on practice, hands-on training, hands-on techniques that I will personally guide you through, and I will teach you what I have developed, what I have tested, what I have found very successful over these 26 years, including my wonderful hypnotherapy that we call, it's a neurological therapy actually, folks, it's called ERT, Emotion Replacement Therapy, where I have these methods to help access those subconscious mental viruses, those mental viruses in people's minds, in people's subconscious mind. I can delete them, I can erase them, I can teach you how to remove fears and phobias, I can teach you how to remove habits, addictions, stopping smoking, losing weight, drug addictions, post-traumatic stress disorder, the strong emotional stimulus that is in that subconscious biocomputer, folks, can be removed and deleted and erased. And I am a big believer in bringing the science of hypnosis to everyone, so everyone out there understands hypnosis as a science. It's not witchcraft, it's not voodoo, it's not magic, it's not psychic stuff. It is a neurological science, and it's based on tonight's discussions, and that is, how does our mind operate? Does our mind just operate through thoughts? What are thoughts? What is the mind? These are questions people want to know, and in the field of hypnotherapy, if you just go around talking about the conscious and the subconscious and really not making any sense about what you're doing, we will never elevate this science to where it's supposed to be, and that is an accepted neurological science that affects the neurophysiological aspects of the human body, the mind, the metabolism, the immune system, the sympathetic nervous system, the respiratory and circulatory system that we call the autonomic nervous system. So I am here to enlighten you, to give you some of my ideas. These are just based on my theories. I have been a scientific tester for the past 25, 26 years. And I love what I do. Every time I've had an opportunity to try a new test, to perfect a new formula, a new method, even when people said it couldn't be done, I have persevered, because the act of trying is a success, folks. The Thomas Edison approach, if it doesn't work, that's great, because now I get to try it a different way. And I'm going to crack a formula. And that's what we want to do as hypnotherapists. We want to give our clients the greatest opportunity for success. Not dependence on hypnosis, but mind dependence, mind freedom, mind independence, where the person, your client, is now the operator of their mind. Most people have their minds going this way. They're non-integrated. The conscious thinks this way, mostly negative. Most people are very successful on being negative. Most people are very successful on the fears, the habits, the addictions, the negative patterns that they have because they reinforce them consciously. So most people don't even know how to use their conscious mind properly. This is a mechanism. The mind is within the organ. The organ is called the brain. It's a mechanism for producing thoughts. Now, some of you are wondering, why do I have this thing on my head? What's wrong with Tom? Is he ill? Is he sick? Is there something wrong with Tom Silver today? No, folks. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just excited and I'm a passionate person and I am here to talk to you today about this little thing on my head. Go on. If anyone wants to log in, ask me questions. I am here to work with you. Pick my brain because I want to help educate every one of you out there, whether you're a hypnotherapist or not, whether you're just a regular person that has a limitation in your life. I'm going to give you mental tools. I'm going to teach you how to use these tools. And I'm going to help you acquire the real successes in your life that you deserve. And by me teaching you how to operate your mind, I am creating success in the therapies that I do, in the sciences that I love and that I've been pioneering and developing. I've got some exciting news today about a brand new book that's going to be coming out soon that I want to tell you about. But what is this on Tom Silver's head? David, you're logged in. What is this on my head? Can you send me a little message or an email? What is this? If anyone could tell me what this is on my head, I have a little surprise for you. Maybe even a little gift that I'll send you. But just log in right now. In fact, if you log in, the first person now that logs in and that tells me what is this on my head, I'm going to send you one of my DVDs. One of my wonderful, it's an electron. Well, no, it's not an electron. That's close, David. But it's not an electron. Electrons are like with the atoms and the electrons and those things. But this is something that is scientific. And what is on my head, folks? Does anyone have any other ideas? Any other ideas before I tell you? I am excited about tonight's show. And you should be excited about tonight's show because we are going in to scientific hypnosis full speed ahead. And there's no stopping us tonight because I'm going to give you information and teach you a little bit about how our mind operates. A sticker. David says it's a sticker. No. David, this is an electrode. This is an electrode. And what does this electrode do? It monitors brainwave frequency changes. We're going to talk about brainwaves today. We're going to talk about how the mind operates and how we can diagnostically see how our own mind is operating, how our brains, our conscious and subconscious interact together. This is an electrode. But before I start the show, I just want to talk about a few wonderful books. I'm a big believer in reading some of the great masters out there. Some of these doctors back in the old days, these magnetists and mesmerists, were some of the greatest hypnotherapists of our time. They were doing extraordinary research, extraordinary results with people. Everything from of course, emotional problems to paralysis, to blindness, to extraordinary therapies. And I'm excited about this. This book is by John Elliotson. I want to make sure everyone can see it. It's by John Elliotson, and it is called Human Physiology. Now, this is a wonderful book. If you can find this book, if you can research it and find this book, it's a wealth of knowledge. Because John Elliotson was a wonderful, wonderful medical doctor. And he practiced mesmerist techniques, the mesmeric passes, the magnetism and mesmerism. And John Elliotson is one of the fathers, one of the real founding fathers of hypnosis. And he also supported the work and the research by the Baron du Potet. And this book was written in 1840. So if you get a chance and you can pick up this book, Human Physiology. What is hypnosis? It's neurology, the neurological changes of our brain wave activity and our brain operation. It's physiology. How does the mind affect the body? You know, many people talk about it's a mind and body combination, but really everything stems really from the mind. Even disease can be manifested and neutralized simply by using the mind to stimulate the immune system. So we're on powerful discoveries. We're making quantum leaps because we're going into now an advanced stage of scientific hypnotherapy. If you want to train with me, give me a call. My information's on the website. Send me an email, tom@tomsilver.com. If you want me to come out to your country, if you want me to teach an advanced scientific neurological training course where you live, give me a call and let's set it up. I want to show you another book. This is a wonderful book. This is a book called Animal Magnetism. And this is the book of Baron Dupotet. Now the great Baron, who was an unbelievable mesmerist, a wonderful practitioner, a healer, was actually working in the hospitals and he was doing extraordinary healings. And this book is wonderful because this book covers the history of animal magnetism. It covers physical phenomenon of animal magnetism. It covers methods of conducting a magnetic operation, actually. And it has the curative effects of magnetism, the power of animal magnetism. It has it talks about everything about the different sessions that he had, the different cures that he had that were in the hospital environments. In the old days, the hospitals were embracing us. We want to get back to that time. We want the hospitals, we want doctors to recommend us as hypnotherapists when they can't help their clients and they're just giving them mood blockers and medicine and the cures or the results have not occurred because they haven't removed the symptoms. Maybe they'll recommend us, scientific hypnotherapists. A wonderful book I also want to mention is the book by my close buddy, my pal, Ormond McGill, Religious Mysteries of the Orient. This is a wonderful book, Religious Mysteries of the Orient. Ormond McGill was a prolific writer. He was my best friend. We worked on advancing brainwave frequencies. Ormond and I even created some programs, hypnomusic, revitalization music, based on sounds with the frequencies of theta and delta. And we're going to talk about brainwave frequencies today. Oh, one last thing I want to just show everybody because I am super excited about this. This is my new book that's coming out very shortly. The Scientific Neurological Therapy, Emotion Replacement Therapy for Neurologic Disorders Associated with the Mind. And if you notice right here, what am I showing, folks? I am showing a brainwave graph, an EEG brainwave graph. So this book, called Brainwave Technology, ERT, and the Scientific Neurological Therapy, is going to be the new cutting-edge mind science and technology, the new therapy for the 21st century. And I'm excited about this book. I've been working on this book for over 10 years. I've been doing advanced scientific hypnosis and working with electroencephalographs and EEG machines, and I have been pioneering new profound realities and truths about the science of hypnosis, which is going to be coming out in this book. And this book is a book recommended for every hypnotherapist, every medical doctor, every psychologist, every psychiatrist, anyone who is advanced in the field of self-help and behavior modification. This book is a wonderful book. It's coming out soon. So enough of talking about books. Let's get, excuse me, let's get to what tonight's discussions are about. EEG, brainwave frequencies. You know, folks, so many times hypnotherapists just don't know how to explain what hypnosis is. You know, I spoke to a young lady trying to find a hypnotherapist back east. So I had her on the phone with me while we were doing a three-way conversation. I was listening to her as she was calling hypnotherapists back east. So she talks to this one hypnotherapist. And she says to him, she goes, could you please tell me, what is hypnosis? And you know what his response was? Hypnosis is conscious and subconscious. It is the conscious. We talk to the conscious. We talk to the subconscious. What the heck does that mean? We talk to the conscious. We talk to the subconscious. We're throwing in words that we've memorized and that we've learned and that we've been embedded in our mind, conscious and subconscious. Well, what is that? What is the conscious and subconscious? So he didn't explain anything scientifically about hypnosis. All he said was it's the conscious and the subconscious. We talk to the conscious and we talk to the subconscious. You get relaxed and we talk to your subconscious. Well, what's going on scientifically, folks? anyone who is academic, anyone who is scientific is going to be thrown off already with just throwing in words like conscious or subconscious, throwing in words like sleep and trance and awake, meaning the person must have been asleep. So we've got to get out of these archaic words. We've got to get out of the science of confusion and get into the science of mind, the neurological science of what hypnosis, what is hypnotherapy, what it really is. So we know that we have two aspects of our mind operating, right? Like a dual processing computer. Like the screen that you're watching me on right now is like your conscious, it's like your thoughts. It's maybe 10% of your true mind power, your mind operation ability. But most of the time that conscious is working incorrectly because we've never learned how to operate our minds correctly by thinking positive. But we're so used to saying negative words and negative thoughts and stimulating and triggering those negative emotions, that negative mind activity in that subconscious mind. So tonight we're talking about EEG. So if a person asks me, what is hypnosis? Well, you know what hypnosis is? Hypnosis is a neurological science. And it's based scientifically on brainwave frequency changes, increasing states of focused and magnified concentration. I'm not talking about sleep, I'm not talking about trance, I'm talking about mind science. Now, have any of you heard of the words beta, alpha, theta, and delta? Beta, alpha, theta, and delta? Most people have. And when you talk about that, all of a sudden you're going into a science, almost like what doctors talk about, or psychiatrists talk about, or psychologists talk about, or people that are doing neurological testing. Our mind operates on frequencies, folks. Beta, alpha, theta, and delta. These are brainwave frequencies representing the conscious mind, the waking state, the full alertness, or a state of what we might call physical relaxation, but mind focus and concentration, receptibility. So our mind operates on frequencies. David says, eyes, yes. What does eyes, yes mean? I have no idea. So David, just listen because I'm not sure what you're talking about here. So the mind operates on frequencies. And our mind operates on frequencies. And when a person goes into hypnosis or goes into meditation or goes into relaxation or goes into any of these certain types of things, their brain waves are changing. And when the brain waves are changing, neurochemicals are also changing. Because the mind is a storehouse of wonderful healing chemicals and some pretty toxic, dangerous chemicals. We've heard about these cortisols, these stresses, acids, adrenalines, things like that. That could be toxic if they are not utilized for their purposes. But anyway, the mind operates on frequencies, folks, beta, alpha, theta, and delta. So the mind is a neuroelectrical computer that's operating on full consciousness, full mind activity, full body energy, which we call beta. Now, if I was to show you a brainwave graph of a person in full beta, this is what it would look like, folks. This is what a brainwave graph would look like on an EEG machine if a person was in a state of full consciousness. There's all this mind activity going on. There's the emotions, there's the energy. The scientists call it mind power. I call it amplitudes, but we can call it volumes within these frequencies. So imagine turning on a television set and turning up the volume. When a person has high energy and you're a Tony Robbins or you're a great motivator or you're feeling the energy of a great, wonderful speaker, that person is in full amplitude, full consciousness, full energy of emotions and of the conscious waking mind. The beta, alpha, thetas, and deltas. Our mind operates on frequencies. The average frequencies are about 0.1 hertz to about 30 hertz. And so when you think about the mind as a neurological computer, when a person goes into hypnosis, what occurs? They start relaxing, right, folks? So when they're getting into this relaxed state, the brain waves are lowering. So they're going into, every one of you probably know about the word alpha, because there's programs out there that say you listen to this CD, it'll put you into alpha or it'll put you into theta. Or, they talk about NLP and things like that as being like alpha type of therapy. So alpha therapy, you're still very conscious, but you're in a little bit lower brainwave frequency state. So you're more focused in on what is being said to you by the hypnotherapist. So it's hopefully stimulating the right emotional responses, habit responses in your subconscious biocomputer. And that's what certain therapies that produce light hypnosis do. Of course, I teach courses and techniques of rapid, instant, interactive hypnotherapy methods to stimulate the central nervous system, to bypass the conscious resistance, and to get a person very deep and receptive into hypnosis. So this is a waking state. It's what we call beta. The mind is operating in full consciousness like most of your clients come in. But some of your clients that are coming in are very sensitive, they're very overreactive, they are very hyper-suggestible, and you see that when they come in. Sometimes you'll see a dilation of the pupils a little bit, which is a physiological sign of a person that is in that lower brainwave frequency state. I find people that are kind of depressed or sad or fearful tend to be hypersuggestible, hypersensitive. Those people are in a lower brainwave frequency state. So this is some people coming in. This is our mind in full consciousness in what we call the state of beta. Okay, now when a person goes more into hypnosis, the brainwaves change. So the conscious activity becomes less. If you look here, the conscious activity is less. The subconscious activity becomes more. So when we're looking at this EEG right now, this person we could say is more of in an alpha state. There's more relaxation of the conscious thoughts. There's stimulation of the emotion. Maybe they're thinking emotions, or maybe the hypnotherapist is giving him positive suggestions. But if we notice the difference between this graph and this graph, there's a scientific, tangible difference. This person here is in a lower brainwave state. So they're more receptive. They're still conscious. Many clients say, well, I hear everything that's going on, but I'm feeling better. And the reason they hear everything and they feel better is because they're in a lower brainwave frequency state, but they're still conscious. But when we turn down the conscious, the subconscious, or what we call the dynamic aspect of our mind, or maybe we can call it the healing mind, maybe we can call it the subconscious hard drive, that 90% of our emotions and our habits and patterns turn up. So the goal of hypnotherapy is to lower brainwave frequencies, but also to lower the volumes, the amplitudes in those brainwave frequencies, depending on what therapy you're working on. Now, I trained a therapist a while back, and she learned abreaction therapy, this young lady. And she was from Asia. She learned abreaction therapy. So every client that came in, she wasn't happy unless they screamed and cried and yelled, and she said even wanted to hit her at times. So she wanted to bring out emotion. And I'm a big believer that when we're doing therapy and we want to do something, remove a phobia or remove a strong habit or remove a negative emotion, that isn't it better to delete that mind activity and that habit and that emotion? Isn't it better to delete it while that client is just relaxed and peaceful, like they're in a wonderful, like they're just meditating? I think it is. Medical doctors, what do they use? They use anesthesia. When they're operating on that person, they want that person in a state of unconsciousness so that they can do the work physically on the body, surgeries and things like that. Imagine what that would be like if you're feeling the emotions like people did before there was anesthesia. So we are creating a state of quieting the conscious. And by quieting the conscious and going from a beta state down to an alpha state or a theta or a delta state, we are activating that subconscious mind. We are creating states of focused, magnified concentration. So again, we're looking at a graph of a person completely, totally conscious. We're looking at a graph of a person that is either in a very hypersensitive, suggestible state when they've come in to see you. Maybe this is the state they're in when they're going into hypnosis. But we're noticing a change, a ratio of getting into that state of magnified, focused concentration. So what is hypnosis? Hypnosis is a process of changing brainwave frequency states to create a state of magnified, focused concentration by going from a waking state of beta down to alpha, theta, or delta. I'm a big believer the more deeper receptive I get you into hypnosis, the more I can shut off that conscious, the more I can stimulate that subconscious mind. John Wallaby, Australia! I love you! I love you! Anyway, remember this wonderful message. The more the conscious becomes unconscious, the more the unconscious becomes conscious. The more your conscious mind gets out of the way, the more you have access to that subconscious biocomputer to delete the negative mental viruses, or the habits or the emotions and help that client create a new foundation of emotions that are positive or habits that are positive or a quality of life that's more successful. All right, I love you too, Tom. All right, this is so great. So the mind operates on frequencies. Now, in my courses, I teach people, I work with my students to teach them to lower their own brainwave frequencies. Because I'm a big believer, if you can lower your own brainwave frequencies, if you can fine-tune your focus and concentration, then you have a mind that's tuned in on helping your client. Most people have distracted minds. Most people overthink. Most people, even hypnotherapists, overanalyze or worry. Or they're afraid they're not going to get that person into hypnosis. So they're overthinking, or their mind is so distracted thinking about when they're through with the session, they're not in that state of focused concentration. A simple technique, you can just hold your hands out like this, folks. Just place your hands closer together and look right in between your hands. Try not to look outside of your hands. Just concentrate right in between your hands. Fine-tune your mind to concentrate as long as you can in one specific spot, in one specific area. Maybe even in one single thought. Once you do this, you are lowering your own brainwave frequencies. I can change my frequencies instantly. I can drop them down to such a state of magnified concentration that my clients leave and that session is successful because I am producing the end result because I'm focused in. We could all focus in. Every one of you have the ability to focus and concentrate. Maybe you think, well, I can't concentrate too long. Well, can you watch a movie? Can you feel the emotions of the movie? Are you absorbed in that movie in the movie theater? Are you absorbed in a sports game watching a football team? Are you absorbed into music, listening to music? Do you play an interactive Nintendo game sometimes or one of these interactive computer games and you're so absorbed in it and you're feeling the emotion of the game or the movie or the sports event or the music? You can focus in. But a distracted mind of a therapist limits your ability to be successful. So really, the key is for you to get relaxed and focused when you're in listening to your client and when you're doing your therapy. Because you want to give your client what they're asking for, not what you think they need. So this is an EEG of a person practicing to lower their brainwave frequencies. I'm going to show you another EEG graph because I teach brainwave frequency monitoring. This is an EEG graph of a person that has full amplitude, full activity going on in the, for what we would say, the medium beta state all the way down to delta. So this is full brainwave activity. Look at folks, look at the change when the person goes into this state of focused concentration, physical relaxation, neuroreceptibility. Look at the difference when that person goes from a non-hypnotized state to a state of being receptive. I don't even like to use the word hypnotized. This person is in a state of focused concentration and they're physically relaxed. Look at the amplitudes, look at the volumes, because our mind operates on frequencies and volumes. If you lower the volumes, there's no more abreactions. You don't have to have a client scream and yell and cry to get what you think is a breakthrough. You might be opening up a wound. You might be activating an emotion that that person didn't want to feel, but you brought it to the surface. Psychologists call it flooding, you know. But I think the key is understanding how the mind operates on these frequencies. Understanding the difference between a person who is in a higher brainwave frequency state, more conscious, or a person who is in a lower brainwave frequency state and they're more receptive. This is science. I've been testing and teaching EEG and scientific hypnosis for 20 years. I've developed methods that are powerful. I've developed different graphs, brainwave graphs, but you have to understand how an EEG works because you need to understand that this tells you certain things. It tells you the ratio of receptibility of your client. It doesn't tell you that there's amnesia or memory loss or that you're doing some regression on that person and the EEG shows it's real. Some people misinterpret an electroencephalograph brainwave frequency monitoring. It will tell you if a person is highly emotional. It'll tell you right off the bat if a person is in a hypersensitive state, if they are continuously stimulating negative emotions by their negative thoughts. Folks, as hypnotherapists, as well as people out there watching this show, you need to operate your mind. You need to not let your mind operate you. Quit walking around saying negative things. Quit walking around saying my life is terrible and awful and I have nothing but problems or regrets, or I'm unhappy, or I'm sad, or I'm lazy, or I sabotage my life. Quit being successful at being non-successful. Start being successful, because it also starts with a thought. Remember, a thought, like we talked about last week with the lovely Mariah, a thought stimulates an emotion. An emotion stimulates a habit. And emotions and habits are in that subconscious biocomputer. So this is a graph of various EEG machines, electroencephalograph. But again, if you can lower the amplitudes, if you can lower the frequencies, like what you see here, you can take a person from this state of full consciousness into this state of lower consciousness, meaning lower consciousness, more stimulated subconscious receptibility, less conscious activity, and more increased focus and magnified concentration. And then if you can get to this state, and you do ERT or other types of therapies, you will have outstanding successes. But you need to understand that hypnosis is a science. We just can't say conscious and subconscious and sleep. And I don't know how many hypnotherapists tell me, well, I got him into trance, or I didn't get him into trance. And this word trance is so overused, and it is a ridiculous word. Trance. Think about trance. Think about the person that doesn't know about hypnosis. They're already scared at the word hypnosis. They're already afraid at the word therapy, because now it means I have a problem. And now you're throwing in the word trance, which is even more confusing, because when they don't experience that trance, then they don't believe hypnosis was real. The key is your client goes into states of focused concentration. The physical body becomes relaxed. You're not going to sleep. If you're going to sleep, your subconscious is transmitting. We're going into dreams. But your subconscious is becoming an open receiver. Remember, when the conscious becomes unconscious, the subconscious becomes conscious, becomes active. So we're lowering the volume of that conscious activity, and we're turning up the emotional receptiveness of that subconscious biocomputer. Does that make sense to you? Those of you who are tuned in, John Wallaby, am I making sense? David out there, who I hope is still listening, just write in your comment, is this making sense to you? This is neuroscience, folks. It's wonderful. The mind operates on frequencies. Frequencies create neurochemical changes. Frequencies stimulate changes in the autonomic nervous system, the respiratory and circulatory system. And if you turn the frequencies and the volumes down into states of focused concentration, like you're watching a movie, or you're focused in reading a great book, and if you can help your client get into that focused state, you're going to create successes in your hypnotherapy session. So remember, if somebody asks you, what is hypnosis? Well, hypnosis is based on scientific neurological brainwave frequency changes, enhancing states of focused and magnified concentration. So we're going from consciousness, from the beta states, from the anywhere from 14 to 30 hertz, down to more receptive states of alpha, like when you're relaxed or meditating, which is about 7 to 14 hertz, down to a more deeper receptive state of hypnosis, that is what we might call theta, which is 4 to 7 hertz, to really receptive states of hypnosis, closely resembling natural sleep, except that subconscious biocomputer is so tuned in, so acutely listening, that you can stimulate emotional changes, physical changes, psychological changes, physiological changes, neurological changes, and that you can do some profound, wonderful scientific therapy on helping your client. You can also produce neuropeptides, natural opiates, to remove pain. So we are in a wonderful, exciting science. This neuroscience we call hypnotherapy. David, yes, yes, yes. Hypnosis is science. Thank you, brother. Thank you, my friends. Because I am a scientific hypnotherapist. I am a tester. I test methods, test techniques. I test this vast, wonderful universe that's within our own brain. The brain is an organ. It's the mind. And the more you know how to operate your mind, the more you know how to produce those lower brainwave frequency states of focused, magnified concentration. The more you talk about the science neurologically using academic scientific terminology, the more you're going to be able to create the results for your clients. And those results are going to be spectacular. And at the same time, You're getting away from voodoo hypnotism. You're getting away from magic, hocus pocus, trance states. You're getting away from the pocket watch and the yes master, and you're getting into technological advanced science. You know, we don't take a 1910 automobile, an engine from a 1910 automobile, and we don't put that in a modern car, do we? No, we sure don't. We don't take an ice box that used to you put ice in it. We don't put that ice in our refrigerators now, do we? No, because we have different types of refrigeration. We're based on new sciences. You know, with DNA testing, there wasn't DNA 50 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. The radiation equipment, the medical devices, the medical science has improved astoundingly. We're finding new alternative energies and light sources. We're going into LEDs. So why continue using hypnosis? These books are great. These old books are wonderful. I love reading about the medical doctors that were hypnotherapists. These were medical doctors, and they understood hypnosis probably better than a lot of people presently. This book, Human Physiology, my gosh, how exciting is this? They were catching the wave. We need to catch the wave, but we need to now use the science now correctly, and we need to talk about it in the scientific technological advancements of the 21st century. I teach 21st century hypnotherapy. When you accept that the brain is transformer of the mind and body connection, you are able to understand what Tom is teaching you here. Thank you, John. I love you. Thank you. John has come to my courses, but he also can communicate with medical doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, anyone in the scientific, medical, academic world. We can communicate to them, but we got to communicate on their terms, on their words, on the terminology that represents that we are scientific therapists. We are not trance inducers. We are not putting people into trances. Get that out of your head. We're not putting people to sleep. The client has just as much operational ability to reach that result if you guide them and you educate them and you enlighten them and you get them motivated that you are a scientific hypnotherapist. And I think that's the most important thing that you can remember today. Remember, the mind is a neuroelectrical computer that produces electrical waves, neural currents, stimulates neurochemicals biochemically. It affects the physiological, the neurological, the biological, the autonomic nervous system, the central nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, the immune system, the metabolism. So this is a science. And I am so proud to call myself a neurophysiological scientist. And I've created the Neurophysiology Institute. Sure, I might look funny with this little electrode on my head, but I am moving ahead into the science, and I want you to embrace the science and continue getting real scientific academic training. Don't go to a textbook trainer. Don't study from a kindergarten school person. Don't study from a therapist that's walking around talking about getting them in and out of trances. Because I'm telling you, you will stay in the dark ages, and we are not voodoo hypnotists. We are not the Bela Lugosi's and the Draculas and the witches. We are scientists. We are mind scientists, and we need to elevate our true understanding of this wonderful science that we call hypnosis. My science is ERT, emotion replacement therapy, and it is based on scientific neurological therapy, emotion replacement therapy, neurologic disorders associated with the mind, cutting edge mind science technology, new therapy for the 21st century. Maybe we even have to get away a little bit from that word hypnosis because there is so much confusion about it. There's so much misinformation about it. There's so much fear, misunderstanding. But the first thing is start to understand the mind scientifically and use terminology that excites your client to want you to help them to reach the goals in their life that they want. Remember, we're working together as a team, and you need to integrate your mind. You need to focus, fine-tune your concentration, and you need to believe in yourself by having scientific academic information. and education and understanding and valuable working techniques. You know, the farmers these days are not using the same farming equipment they used back in the 1850s. They're using advanced farming equipment. It works faster, it's better, it's more effective. And the neurological sciences these days are faster, more effective, and they're better. But they're also based on scientific, academic understanding of this wonderful neurocomputer that we call our mind. And that is the conscious aspect of it, our thoughts, and the subconscious part of our mind, like the hard drive, our biocomputers. Learn to operate your biocomputer, teach your client how to operate their biocomputers, and nothing will stand in the way of everyone's health, happiness, and successes. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. I'll tell you, after 26 years, I'm even more excited about the testing and the scientific discoveries that I am going to present to the world very shortly. And my discoveries are going to be quantum science, and they're going to be validated scientifically by the medical and the psychological, psychiatric communities. So again, thanks for tuning in. Every Thursday night now, 8 p.m. my time, tune in because we're going to be talking about science. I'm going to give you mind tips, and I'm going to help you to help your clients. And I'm going to give you the words and thoughts that I want you to remember. Bye, Tom. Thank you again for sharing your knowledge. Thank you, John. It's always a pleasure, my friend. And remember those new special techniques that I taught you when you came out to see me a few months back that only you know? Put those into operation. Lower those brainwave states. Create that receptibility and help your clients reach their goals. I love you all. I'm Tom Silver. Any emails or questions, tom@tomsilver.com. If you want to come to my personal one-on-one training, just give me an email, give me a call. The information's on the website. And also I have a wonderful young lady coming in from Amsterdam to study with me in this next month, which is going to be real exciting. If you want to have a course in your area or your country, if you want to sponsor me to come out to teach all of the techniques of EEG, ERT, low brainwave frequency receptive states, and scientific hypnosis, give me a call. We're here to work together. We're not here to have separate groups of people. We need to create consistent, scientific, academic understanding and techniques that are here in the 21st century. The age of technological advancements are here, and we need to be right there with it to move ahead. I'm Tom Silver. I love you all. Thanks so much for tuning in, for dropping in, and I will see all of you focused in on my show next week. Take care, everybody. Go for greatness. Don't settle for less. Remember, I operate my mind. I tell my mind when to think, what to think, how to think, and I can stop my mind from thinking because I am the operator behind this wonderful mechanism that is so profound and so unbelievable and so amazing. And this is our dual processing computers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all later on. Bye-bye now.